Hello nerds and nerdettes, welcome back to the channel. Today we have another new video for you guys. Happy Monday. This video is going to be a little bit of a, instead of a review, a overview slash comparison kind of TED Talk style video. We are going to be going over at the same time the King in Black Omnibus and the Venom by Donny Cates Omnibus. We will kind of treat it the way we treat our reviews, do some overhead shots talking about the material and talking about the cover and dust jacket, everything like that. But when we circle back here, we will talk a little bit about kind of which route you should go based on your interest. This omnibus has a lot of hate right now, which I think is a little unwarranted because I feel like they are for two different types of readers. And it really depends on who you are and what you like. I don't think it's a bad omnibus. The mapping issue, everything like that, we will go over. So the King in Black Omnibus has a cover price of $150, and it has a page count of 1568. Had to double check to my right if you see me looking over there. The Venom Omnibus by Donny Cates has a cover price of $125 and a page count of 1352. So some differences there. Definitely something to make note of. But we can go ahead to the overhead shots. This will be a little bit quicker than our typical overhead shots because we are covering two books and we want to get to the conversation portion. But if you want a more in-depth review on either of these omnibuses, definitely let me know down below and I would be more than happy to do that for you. But we can go ahead to the overhead shots now.
And as I said, here we are, guys. Venom by Donny Cates, the omnibus. Beautiful cover, beautiful spine. A little bummed we don't have the Venom bus in the red square like we all wanted, but it is what it is. Great back cover with Null just looking sinister. We do have some introductions for the character as well as the creators on the inner flaps. Kind of typical, and a wraparound cover, of course, with some symbiote dragons. This book is sewn binding. My copy was extremely tight, so stretch your spine, stretch your binding. It's going to need it if it's anything like mine. Getting into the book, we have beautiful title page with Venom, Cates, Stegman, very modern. And then, of course, we have all of the creators that helped on this book. Really good stuff. Obviously, Donny Cates doing pretty much all the writing, and Ryan Stegman doing pretty much all of the art. We have a very beautiful and heartfelt introduction by Donny Cates, going over just how much the character Venom means to him and how he's always wanted to write the character. Super cool. I love to read these introductions and hear these stories about fans turned into actual creators. I cannot get over that. It is so cool to actually know creators that were once in the exact seats that we are in. But jumping right into the omnibus, we do have quite a bit of material throughout. We have Venom 2018 1 through 35, Venom Annual 2018 number 1, Web of Venom, Venom, Web of Venom, Carnage Born, Web of Venom, Wraith, Absolute Carnage 1 through 5, that's huge. King in Black 1 through 5, that is also huge. Material from Free Comic Book Day 2019, Spider-Man / Venom. And Free Comic Book Day 2020, Spider-Man / Venom, incoming number 1, as well as Carnage Black, White, and Blood number 2. Holy moly, what a decent amount of material throughout this book. This book has 1,352 pages, as I said, and it feels like every bit of it as much just cool concepts and stories and amazing panels that are fit throughout this. It feels like an actual story from beginning to end that was beautifully structured. So much thought goes into every aspect of this book. Just Ryan Stegman absolutely giving his all to the art, as you can see on the screen. Very kind of close to almost an Ed McGuinness kind of style, cartoony yet not at the same time. This omnibus has a very interesting ability, which is it can actually replace Absolute Carnage as well as the recently released King in Black omnibus, which is very big for those of us that have limited shelf space. That is 2 omnibuses that you technically don't have to get if you are just looking for the story or you're a minimalist collector. If you are not a full-on completionist that needs everything, then this book is a 2-for-1 essentially, which, I mean, it pretty much pays for itself there with a cover price of $125, but covering the material that 2 omnibuses or 2 event books cover, can't shake a stick at that. Makes it worth it within itself. Obviously, the highlight of this book is the mapping. A lot of people were very upset with the King in Black mapping because the Venom issues where it covers the Venom falling kind of storyline are put at the end of King in Black in the King in Black omnibus, while they are put after King in Black issue 1 in this omnibus. So much more successful mapping throughout, and that honestly does really contribute to the reading experience. It is much more fluid, and it does kind of flesh out a lot of information that should have kind of been taken place and absorbed after King in Black #1. But in this omnibus, they do that. King in Black, not so much. As far as the extras go, you're getting a lot of Ravencroft kind of files and a couple designs, but it is fairly light on the extras. The best part is this portion here, where you essentially get every Venom cover, obviously shrunken down, which is super cool to just see the change in art and the change in host. But I cannot recommend this omnibus enough. I cannot recommend this story enough, but we can go ahead and jump to the King in Black. And here we are, the infamous King in Black omnibus. Beautiful cover, beautiful spine. Marvel pretty much knows what we like as far as covers and spines at this point. I don't think there's very many covers and spines that are absolutely horrible. We have a back cover. Null is here. Definitely dark and gritty like the event itself. The inner flaps, we have an introduction to Null as well as the creators, kind of similar to the Venom omnibus. And we do have a beautiful wraparound cover. I do enjoy this wraparound cover much more than the one from the Venom omnibus. And then we do have quite a bit, or a quite large eye for this book. Much better than my Venom omnibus, but as I said, the binding on that book for my copy, maybe it's all of them, not too sure, was very tight. This one was not nearly as tight. I only had to stretch it once and a little pass through for a second time. We do have a lot of creators on this book, obviously because of all of the tie-ins mainly, but the event itself is a brainchild of Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. You're getting the exact same event that was collected in the Venom omnibus, other than a couple differences. But going over briefly the material that is collected throughout this book, and I will try to make this as fast as possible. We have King in Black 1 through 5, King in Black Immortal Hulk, Iron Man, Doctor Doom, Black Knight, Marauders, Black Panther, Captain America, Wicked and Hulkling, Spider-Man, Scream, and Ghost Rider. Then we have King in Black Venom vs. Carnage 1 through 3, King in Black Namor 1 through 5, King in Black Planet of the Symbiotes 1 through 3, King in Black Return of the Valkyries 1 through 4, King in Black Thunderbolts 1 through 3, Symbiote Spider-Man King in Black 1 through 5, Black Cat 1 through 3, Daredevil 26 through 27, Deadpool number 10, Fantastic Four 29 through 30, Guardians of the Galaxy number 10, Miles Morales Spider-Man number 23, Sword 2 through 4, Savage Avengers 17 through 19, Spider-Woman 7 through 8, The Union 1 through 2, Venom 31 through 34, and King in Black Handbook number 1. Holy moly, that was a lot. So this pretty much collects the main event that is also collected in the Venom Omnibus, but the big difference that a lot of people have an issue with is the mapping. So typically how you read this, you would read King in Black issue 1, and you would then read Venom 31 through 34. It kind of reads that way. The issues 31 through 34, or the falling issues, pardon me if I'm wrong as far as the numbers, but they are taking place directly after the issues of King, or the issue of King in Black number 1. So a lot of people have a huge issue with that. I honestly think if you're reading and you weren't aware that those Venom issues were supposed to be there, you probably wouldn't notice. It still reads with fairly decent fluidity. I don't think it interrupts all that much. The only point that I guess it would somewhat interrupt you is once you get to those Venom issues and see that those are supposed to take place during the King in Black event. But then again, all of the tie-ins do, hence them being tie-ins. So I don't think it's as big of an issue as a lot of people are making it, but I do understand the a little bit of an outrage because they did it in one book. Why not copy and paste it right into another book? It does make sense. A lot of people think it's a money scheme because the King in Black Omnibus is more expensive than the Venom Omnibus, but I don't think so, because for 200 extra pages, a bunch of tie-ins, it somewhat equates as far as price-wise. A lot of people also, and reviewers also, say that the tie-ins are very bad. I personally enjoyed quite a bit of them. All of the Spider-Man characters, such as Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, Miles, Black Cat, their tie-ins were great. Symbiote Spider-Man, I enjoyed that tie-in as well. You also have the Immortal Hulk tie-in that has no dialogue, which is extremely enjoyable for me. I love art-forward kind of stories. The Ghost Rider and Daredevil stories are pretty kick-ass also. A lot of fun. Really, really enjoyed those tie-ins a lot, and I don't think they necessarily contribute to the story, but they are fun to read, and I don't think they're horrible like a lot of people are saying. There are some in there, especially in the kind of mid portion of the tie-ins, that do fall off a little bit, especially art-wise for me, but it is what it is. I still enjoyed a decent amount of them. A lot of events have horrible tie-ins. Maybe I'm just kind of accustomed to it. But getting into the extras of the book, really cool stuff. You have Noel's kind of like family tree almost explored, all the symbiote hosts and people he's come into contact with, which is super cool and awesome to see that you can almost trace this character's existence all the way back to God knows how long, and that's really awesome. You also get obviously a bunch of covers and a lot of like symbiote variants because this is a symbiote centric book. But that does wrap up the walkthrough, so we'll head back to the desk.
And we are back. Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed taking a look at the art. A couple things to kind of go over for the little TED Talk portion of this. We will start with the reading experience, I guess, going through both. If you are much more of a fan of a larger universe, not as much focused on one individual character, the King in Black Omnibus is definitely a better choice for that. Venom by Donny Cates does feel like a Venom story. Obviously, it is the ongoing title, or the once was ongoing title that Donny Cates was writing for the character, but there is quite a bit of teams making appearance in the book, because you do have Absolute Carnage and King in Black included in here. So honestly, this might be a little bit more of a universe building book on this end, but I think they both kind of do accomplish that. So in that regard, I do think either way. As far as the readability, obviously the mapping in this book and the Venom issues being put after the event, it does not read as concisely or as fluid as the Venom Omnibus it does, because they actually did go out of their way to do that. But I do think they both cover the event good enough to where you're not going to be exactly lost. I think a lot of gaps are going to be filled more in this book than this book, but it kind of comes to personal preference as far as that goes. Mapping is much better in this book, as you guys have probably heard a million times, than King in Black. But the one thing the King in Black Omnibus definitely does that Venom does not is it has tie-ins, so you do get the feeling of the things at risk and just how big this event is and how it's affecting everyone in the event. The Venom Omnibus much more obviously focuses on Venom and Venom only and the people he comes into contact with, such as Dylan or a lot of the Spider-Man characters. King in Black, those tie-in issues really kind of add a sense of scope to the story of King in Black, just how much of the Marvel Universe is actually being affected by the story that you are reading. So I think it does perform that very well and much better than the Venom Omnibus, because of the fact that this is an actual event omnibus. So you are going to be getting that sense of scale and all the tie-ins in all the other titles. So to me, I think that does warrant this omnibus to at least get a thought of being bought. I know a lot of people and reviewers and critics and stuff have said that, oh, well, the tie-ins are only symbiote dragons making an appearance. That is kind of Noel's main army that he does send onto Earth, and that is kind of the effect that he has on the planet Earth. When the Avengers and Fantastic Four are coming into New York City, you see all of the dragons reigning. Of course, they're going to make an appearance in other titles. It's only logical when such a large force of them is appearing and attacking. So I don't think that is necessarily a bummer. The symbiote dragons is Noel's like call sign, so it definitely makes sense that they play a role in a lot of the tie-ins. Now, if you're looking for a more deep dive as far as the lore for Venom, the symbiotes, Noel, I actually would probably tell you to check out the Venom Omnibus over the King in Black Omnibus, even though this should be more focused on Noel, but you get much more of his story, the build-up of his story, the early phases of his story and how he was evolved in even events like Absolute Carnage. And if you want that lore, you want that kind of build-up to the climax, then Venom Omnibus is a much better choice for that. So, as I said, really, it depends on what you want as a reader. If you want the sense of scope and effect and just how big the events are that are happening in this book, then I definitely think the King in Black Omnibus is much better of a choice for that. I don't think the tie-ins are as bad as a lot of people are saying they are. They aren't great, but no event tie-ins ever are. Only a select number of events actually have really good tie-ins. But the tie-ins, specifically a lot of the Spider-Man characters that are connected to Venom, such as Miles and Spider-Gwen and Spider-Man, everything like that, their tie-ins are actually very good. I really, really enjoyed them, and I don't think they're necessarily bad and not worth reading. There are some tie-ins in here that aren't, but some of them are pretty decent. So I think if you want that sense of scale, this is the book. If you want to see how Null is affecting the entire Marvel Universe and not just the character of Venom, the Avengers, Fantastic Four, all of the Spider-Man characters, everything like that, this is the book you're going to want. You're going to get much more of that. You're going to get a lot more A-list, B-list characters making an appearance, a lot more teams making an appearance. If you just want the story from beginning, middle to end, and you don't mind that it's focused on the character of Venom, or maybe you are a fan of the character of Venom, then I would tell you to swing this way and get the Venom by Donny Cates omnibus. This does give you everything you technically need to read the event and complete the event without any issues. The only thing really missing, like I said, are the tie-ins. Very Venom-centric story though, so if you are more of a fan of teams kind of coming in, like Avengers and stuff, fighting the big bad, that's not necessarily going to be this. You do get a decent amount of it, but you get much more on this end. But the biggest thing is obviously the price points. King in Black being $150, Venom being $125, a $25 swing between the two books for about roughly 200 more pages in King in Black. So, I mean, the price, I guess, somewhat equates. If you can find 200 pages in this omnibus, or if you've already read the event and you know 200 pages worth of issues that you're not going to like, then maybe get to this page. But because of just how many pages you're getting, the price point kind of does make sense. But if you only want the event and you just want the story, then go the cheaper option, obviously. But both are really good stuff. King in Black is a very enjoyable event. I'm going to put my opinion out there. I did enjoy reading the event in the Venom omnibus much more. I feel like you hear Null speak and address characters much more in this omnibus, in the Venom by Donny Cates omnibus, than the King in Black omnibus, surprisingly. And really that was more of the deciding factors, just learning more about the character of Null. In this, he's kind of a typical big bad that shows up, doesn't say much, and just kicks a lot of ass. Still enjoyable in that aspect, but I do enjoy kind of the lore and everything like that. But obviously, I got both omnibuses, so I didn't really choose between the two. I'm an event maniac, so I had to get the King in Black omnibus. But if I had to choose one or the other, obviously, we're right after the holidays, so for me, money's a little tight, so I'd choose this omnibus. Plus, it was just a little bit more fluid as far as the reading experience goes, and not as encumbersome. Those 200 pages, even though it doesn't seem like a lot, really made this book pretty heavy. The only issue I really had with my Venom omnibus is the spine is beyond, or the binding is beyond tight, but stretching that out should really help with that. But we can go ahead and finish up with these two books. Let me know down below which route you went or which route you plan on going. I hope for those of you that have not acted on one or the other, this video helps you out. And if you have anything else to really add to the decision between the two, watching this video, definitely comment down below. You never know who you could really be helping. That does wrap up today's overview / TED Talk covering the very drama-filled King in Black omnibus and Venom omnibus by Donny Cates. A little bit of a comparison between the two. A little bit more long-winded in this video, but I do think it was worth it. There is a conversation to be had about the two books and their merits and the things that they do offer. I don't think either are bad omnibuses or wastes of money. I think it really depends on what type of reader you are and what you really enjoy. I'm kind of the type that enjoys not only the fluidity of reading, but the sense of scale. So obviously I got two, but if that is not, or both, if that is not an option for you, then based on kind of a lot of the information I presented and a lot of the information you can find online, make a much more educated decision and choose the book that's right for you. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. As always, I really appreciate the love and support and you guys tuning in every Monday and Friday. It really amazes me every single time. If you do want me to do a much more in-depth review on either of these books or both, comment down below. I'm always interested in getting the reviews out on books that you guys want them to be on. So always chime in and let me know what you'd like me to read and kind of speak on. And also let me know how you feel about kind of brushing through the book and having a little bit of a conversation at the end. If you would enjoy something more along those lines, or maybe much more book focused. At the end of the day, these videos are for you guys, so what you guys kind of want me to do is what I'm more than likely going to be steering towards eventually. So other than that, I really appreciate it. If you guys would hit that thumbs up icon like you guys always have been, it really helps the community and the channel grow. If you are not a part of the Illuminati and you'd like to join the Illuminati, then hit that subscribe button. You can also hit that bell icon and get notified anytime I put out any form of content at all. But other than that, thank you so much. I hope you guys are enjoying what you guys are reading, and stay nerdy as always.